Welcome everybody, Tom Matuska here for the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, Thursday afternoon live, again with Brett Wingfield, and we're going to continue on today with mule deer, and this must be part five. We do a lot of nice work around here, we just don't do it very fast at 1 hour a week. In the previous sessions, we started way back with, and you can tune back and watch any of these in the archives. And we started out with mannequin selection. We put antlers on, talked about antler angles. We set the ear butts. A lot of you weren't used to putting your ear butts on prior to mounting the deer. And that was something new for a lot of people. We had a lot of comments on that. And it's a good way to teach anatomy, as well as kind of see what you're going to get before you ever put the skin on, whether you like it or you want to change it. And so that was new to people. We used the new innovative mule deer nose by Brian Olson, and you put that on in short order. And we did eye setting. Last week, I think you did a little eye finishing, put a nictitating membrane on, caruncle. We mounted the deer, had our sewing machine sew him up for us, so it made short work of doing that. So we're going to continue on today and with a little bit of finish work. And once the animal's mounted, though you're pretty proud of it and you think that man, I did a mule deer today. You really did, because there's a whole lot to do after the animal is mounted. So we've got to deal with nose, although the interior of our nose is pretty darn perfect. We've got beautiful symmetry, really nice detail, transparent septum, and but we have a little bit of coloration to do on the face, the nose. I think last week you showed them how to put the easy noser. You kind of textured the nose with a texture bottle, and there's a lot of different kinds of texture bottles. And so today we groomed him a little bit. So today I think we're going to carry on where we left off, and we're going to attempt to finish this deer, and so we can move on to another creature, show you our methods. And so text in any of your questions and we'll try to answer them as we go. And we'll show you some of the products that we use, that we have good luck. We've done this for such a long time that we've fine-tuned it down to our favorites. And so with that, I think we'll get started with this guy. So what are we going to do first?
I think we cleaned him up a little bit last week before we started our finish work, but probably a good place to start would be to finish scrubbing hair and getting him prepped for color for our paint. So I can do a little bit of that. If you want to talk to him about maybe doing some antlers and
Sure.
stuff.
First of all, when you get a hide back from the tannery, I noticed when we mounted this that you had washed him, because he smelled really fragrant. He's really pleasant to work with. Anytime you get a hide back from the tannery, whether it's wet tan, dry tan, if it's dry tan, it probably has sawdust residue up in the hair that you don't want falling out in the customer's trophy room, in their living room, on the coffee table. So we like to make sure we get any sawdust residue out. And I think last week the air compressor a little bit, you blew some. Air compressor is a good method to do that. Any of these grooming brushes are very helpful. And just even once we mount the deer, as we're getting sewed up and start working on it, we will start grooming the hair, and you want any loose hair that's going to come out, any sawdust, any debris in him. And remember, all animals have hair patterns. And just look at your dogs and cats and you'll be amazed at the different directions that hair goes for different reasons. Don't get in the habit of grooming your animal straight back. When this hair is wet, it's likely to go wherever you choose with your hairbrush. But kind of pay attention to your reference photos, live animals if you have them, but you'll notice that the hair doesn't go necessarily straight back. Most animals, whether it's birds or mammals, the hair and the feathers are geared towards drainage for when they get wet, so it doesn't run up into the hide. So most of this will lend itself towards draining when it's raining out, moist out. So groom your hair accordingly. We spend a little time on the armpits and the briskets. Most of your white-tail mule deer are going to have a colic down in the armpit, and briskets sometimes will come together. Sometimes you'll have an isthmus. Mule deer has a nice wide isthmus brisket down here, and groom that nicely. Something else you can do in those areas is put a little hair conditioner on them and hold them in place until they dry. And hair conditioner is something that we use a hair conditioner here in the shop that's concentrated, and we just mix it in a spray bottle like this and put it into a fine mist.
What do you mix it with to get it?
Water, I'm sorry, water is a good product. And if you have unruly hair, say you have maybe a cut that you repaired or damage or bullet hole or something like that, and you can't get that to lay down, and you brush it, and it keeps springing up, nothing works better than this hair conditioner. Hair will stay put. All you do is give it a light misting and groom it down. Smooth your hand over it. Hair conditioner will brush right out of the hair. You won't have any residue. You know, it looks nice, it smells nice. If we ever go into trophy rooms to clean customers' trophy rooms, we always go in and groom them and rebrush their animals, and you can make them look really nice and natural just by realigning your hair.
What's the difference between your hair conditioner spray and the hair sheen spray?
The hair sheen, I think, is a shine, and it's like a hairspray shine. Yeah. That you would put on a dry hide. Compared to this, you're going to actually wet the hair and groom the hair with that.
So then at what point do you back brush of the mounting process?
Back brushing,
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, back brushing is probably a whole seminar in and of itself, but generally I would back brush probably through the drying process, starting about day 2, day 3. Once the glue has started to tack up against the mannequin, what happens is if you don't wait and you start back brushing right away, you're going to taxi the skin with the brush and actually be moving skin into.
And we've done that. We did that in the early days. We kind of had some oopses because we actually moved the skin when it was wet like this.
Yep. And that's so back brushing is kind of a long process. It's really going to add a lot of time to it, but it does give a really nice, pretty loft to your animal.
And not all animals lend themselves to back brushing.
Very, very true. I've heard several people say they struggle with mule deer, back brushing mule deer. We've done some that work out pretty well and have some that don't work out so well.
And basically what you're doing is you try to do everything you can not to mat this hair down really, really tight to the animal. This animal in real life has loft between his hair. Yeah. So by back brushing, you're literally going at different angles trying to create air under the hair follicles and give them loft.
Yep. So it's that insulation factor of air that occurs with the under down, and it's trying to lift that up. So that's a long process. Starting early, you can aggressively back brush after your glue firms up. Probably, I would say I do the back brushing. If you're going to aggressively back brush them and try to build up a nice loft, I would do that before I did any paint work. You might do it at this stage now, and then you can get it all lofted up, and that way you don't risk. When you go to back brush aggressively, you're going to use some pretty harsh combs, and you can easily scratch paint around the eyes or nose.
And be careful with the eyes.
Yep. So that's when I would back brush the most, is right before we did color.
So we like to condition them if necessary. If you need something to lay down, brush them, clean them up really good. Pay attention to your hair patterns. A lot of people, when they groom their deer, everything goes straight back. But just look at your reference photos, and hair doesn't go straight back. If you notice, and typically on deer, over the brows, the hair comes over the brows, so you can really see it plainly in this picture. It just kind of flows up and over and around that pedicle. So rather than going straight back, get in the habit of bringing this hair. You'll get a completely different look. I don't know if I can do it. I'll do this one the right way and I'll do this one the wrong way. If he was fresh, you would see a pretty big difference. But now this one shows a great amount of white up here above his eyebrow, and this one, which is more accurate, kind of gives more of a mule deer look according to the coloration that I see in the reference pictures. So watch that, it's real important. And all you have to do is follow the pictures, follow the live animals. Another thing, don't be afraid to back brush under the chin. You will get, and under the jaws, you will get a complete different profile to the animal. And for years, I tried to add clay down here. I would change I cut a wedge out of my form to get them deeper, like the deer I saw out in the field. And what it really was, the deer that I was getting in was measuring to what I was mounting, but it was my grooming. Grooming underneath this chin is going to add a half inch of wedginess here, which will really help in the look of your deer. So,
William Scott wants to know, can you just blow dry it like a furred animal instead of back brushing?
You know, it doesn't work quite as good.
It doesn't. We've done that, and
Yes,
we do
we have.
it with antelope. We'll blow dry antelope.
We do an antelope.
They work pretty well, but the deer, it doesn't seem to. You almost have to train that hair back forward.
It's a little erratic. They look a little ratty. I had a bright idea at one time to, I built a big tumbler, and I would take my hides, put them in the tumbler, and they came out so beautifully fluffy. But by the time I had them mounted and I'd been petting on them and everything, they were as flat as a pancake. So the tumbler I was pretty excited about. Didn't quite do it either, but blow drying you can try, but I don't think you're going to get a real uniform look. And the people that are good at back brushing, I'm going to say spend 4 hours on that deer to make it look nice. It's a tremendous effort, worth it, but it's going to be hard to get paid for.
And you wonder why it takes us so long to get ready.
Okay, what else should we do to this guy here?
I think we're ready for color.
All right, let's do some color.
Do you want to talk to him just a little bit about?
Oh, let's talk about eye protect. You put eye protect on one side.
Yeah, I did. You guys might see over here on this side. Just in the interest of time, we put a film over this eye after all of the epoxy work was done and everything was cleaned up. The eye was clean, sparkly clean, and then we put over that a molding latex or eye protect.
Eye frisket is what we use.
Eye frisket. Yep, we have eye frisket and eye protect. This is the eye frisket. Eye protect is a little bit
Green color?
Yeah, that's the green, and it's a little runnier consistency. So it might take 2 coats of that. The eye frisket, we just have to use 1 coat. But it's a latex product and comes off really easily. I've heard other people using Mod Podge or several different things, but this comes off nice and works really well. So, but also needs to dry. So that's why we did that one ahead of time. I can do just a little bit of this one on this side.
And when you put any of the eye coverings on, we've seen a lot of people put them on very, very thin, and when it comes off in slivers. Oh, yeah. You want it to come off in one solid piece like a rubber band. So by taking a little bit of a brush, I've even used Q-tips like on fish and things like that, and you can get a big gob on it and actually coax it up to the lid. And if you get it thick enough, it'll take a little while to dry. It might take 20 minutes or so to dry. Now you're really gobbing it up, and that's what I'm talking about. Put it on really thick. And just
that's how Mandy likes it, when she likes to pull it off. Just
I know,
one nice big piece.
It's important that wherever you want paint to color, don't get the eye frisket. Because any place eye frisket goes, it's going to actually be, or eye protect goes, it's going to be a frisket, and it's going to protect your skin from color. And the nice thing about this is you can spray glosses on your eyes, you can spray satins on your eyes, you can spray your paint, and when it's all done, peel it off, and your eye will be clear underneath. And before you do put the eye frisket on, polish your eye as if it was going to go to the customer. We take Windex works well, alcohol works good, photo lens cleaners, you know, we've used a lot of different things, but clean your eye really, really good so you don't have to clean and risk scuffing your eyelid later.
And worth noting with this heavier frisket, I've got just a little bit that touches my lower lid here. I can very easily come in with a tool, with a pin or a needle, and scoop it away. Where the thinner products will settle down into the void, and that makes you a little bit of a problem. That's why we kind of like we like the little bit thicker latex, and also, like Tom said, worth noting, this eye was really scrubbed first. We got it ready to prep it, and so apologize for not showing you how we cleaned it, but we cleaned it with steel wool and Windex.
And steel wool, make sure it's the fine 4/0 steel wool if you're going to use steel wool. Nothing linty. Lens cleaner pads are good.
After this will take me just a minute, so do you want to tell them about our new color?
Okay. And we are new to us this year are the Createx products and Createx acrylic paint. And we've used every paint that has been on the market. Man, I started out with oil paints and moved to lacquers and moved to other lacquers. And every time a water-based paint has been on the market, just for health and cleanliness reasons and fumes, I've gravitated towards every water-based paint there is, only to be disappointed because of the slowness in drying. I just never got the coverage I wanted. Never was very happy with any of the water-based paints. And over the last year, we've been in contact with some pretty powerful artists throughout the United States who all have the same opinion of Createx, that it's the best acrylic paint on the market. And there's people from the craft world, there's people, professional artists, Disney,
lure makers,
everybody seems to be catching on to Createx, and it comes in different varieties and it has different additives. Used by itself, it works very good for us in the fish industry. That's what we used it primarily for, and now with our mammal work. But works very good, and we seal it with our automotive sealers just like we've always done before. It also has urethane additives to make it just like an automotive car paint. Tremendous product, and you can thin it, mix it, color it, comes in, I don't know, 80 different colors, maybe 100 different colors.
Bradley says the best paint there is. I love Createx. Their bloodline is awesome.
Isn't it something? There's colors that we got the Bloodline series and the Lifeline series, and if you people are doing open mouths and face work and things like that, Bloodline series.
And this is the Lifeline series. The kit just happened to have up. Really effective. You can see depth of color in there.
And we find that we use way less paint than we ever use. We used to take cups and paper cups, and we'd squirt a whole lot of lacquer thinner in it and dump a bunch of, we'd always put thinner in it and retarder in it to slow it down and paint, and pretty soon it evaporates out, and we seem to waste a lot. We mix this only what we need when we need it, and like this is just a dark gray. Gray comes in 6 different colors, I think, or more, and you put a couple drops of this and maybe a drop of thinner, and you're good to go, and you don't waste it.
That was one of the comments from the students that used it today, was it went a lot further than he had expected. So pretty exciting.
But to mix it, there's different thinners. I guess the 2 most common ones are 4011, 4013, and I'm not entirely sure of the difference. They have different bases in them, alcohol bases, different kind of bases. But to mix it, it's a matter of putting in a small amount. I put in, guessing, about 5 drops, and I probably won't be able to get a drop of this, but I'll put in 1 or 2 drops of the thinner. And you have something to stir with over there? Your special applicator?
Morris wants to know, is there a different color chart for the Createx, or can you use any paint chart?
There is a different color palette by name for Createx. Createx colors are all individually named, and we see that from Life Tone to Polytransparent to Wildlife Colors. Every paint company names their colors slightly different. So to use a specific chart from one to the other is a little bit problematic. We've gone through some of our deer colors and come up with a chart that is kind of a transfer. Do you have a copy of that?
Game head finishing?
Yeah, as we've been asked several times lately for some equivalents for game heads, and so we came up with if you look at that, I believe, is it the one side is Life Tone,
Which is this side.
and the other side is the Createx colors. And just to give you some comparison, there are not perfect matches from one to the other. And that's what we wanted to illustrate with the actual paint swatches. We just took a Q-tip and of each color on either side. But that will show you the difference between the two, and as close as we can get. Hopefully as a helpful tool, we might make that available to them. But that would be...
This is the basic game head finishing coloring comparison from Life Tone to Createx that we just showed you. So we kind of put together a game head finishing kit. And most of them are Bloodline. I think there's 2 Lifeline colors in that as well.
And they'll cover whitetail, mule deer, sheep, goats, antelope.
Yeah, and just, it's of course a general kit. You can always add, if you find that there's a color in the Lifeline kit, we also sell them individually. So you can choose to add a few different colors if you're looking to do that. But this will give you a nice
And remember, you can mix these. They mix just like any paint you've ever had. The best thing ever is we have not, I think we've used it exclusively here for 4 months.
Oh, yeah, I bet all
6 months
more. Yeah.
And we have not run our exhaust fan for our paint yet. I mean, there's just no fumes, there's no odors. Another thing I've always felt with my lacquer paints, I can look at my fish that I did 5 years ago at a customer's house, and I look at them and I'm just thinking, I thought they were more vibrant when I did them. And I do feel that some of my lacquers have faded, and the Createx colors are color fast.
And so if you're gonna buy the Createx colors, you do want to purchase one of the reducers, correct?
One of the reducers.
Yeah.
4011 is
4011
a recommended one.
Seems to be working for us very well in kind of a dry climate up here. They do have different reducers for extremely humid conditions,
and cold temperatures and things like that.
Do you use quite a bit of the 4011 in one?
10 to 15%.
Yep, 10 to 15%. We clean with it too.
If you did 10 drops of a dark gray, put in 2 drops of the retarder, or of the reducer. And also this is a great brush cleaner too. I mean, it's gonna clean your brush. And another thing you'll notice when you use the Createx colors, clean it with their reducer, the airbrushes never stick when you pick them up a week from now. They're like they're oiled. My airbrushes have never been cleaner, and that was the big adverse thing that I disliked about most acrylics is if you let it dry in the gun, it's like Elmer's glue drying in the gun, and your gun's shot. I have 2 airbrushes in my box that have dried acrylics in them from years ago, and they will never run again. But we haven't found that with the Createx. They clean up better than any lacquer product we've had.
You gotta try the Restorer on that.
Restorer too. There's another product called, there's a lot of additives. There's a urethane additive they use for painting lures underwater and things like that, so it won't chip off. There's different reducers. There's a restorer when your gun is dried and caked and will not run again. You put a little restorer in it and it dissolves all your paint. It pretty
works
interesting
really
stuff.
well, really well, surprisingly well, and has even helped in some of the lacquer materials too. It takes some of the lacquers off. So,
but what I'd suggest to anybody, don't pick out every color you think you need and spend $300 on Createx colors. But I think everybody will be really impressed by one bottle of this and a bottle of 4011 or 4013 reducer and play with it and see what you think. We're extremely impressed. And that's what you're going to use on this too, right?
Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it through basically our same color process that we would with the lacquer paint. We're going to treat it exactly the same. And so I'm going to move kind of quickly through the paint for the finish work on this, just because we've done that in other mounting sessions. But I'm going to start with a flesh tone, which we would start basically any other process with. I'm going to flesh out some of the surface of the nose, around the lip line, front corners of the eyes. That will blend our epoxy work, and also it will give us a nice base to build off of.
And even if you don't see flesh, we kind of always start with flesh. It's just a good underlying color. And I saw a nice picture here of a mule deer. This is a good example while you're getting ready there. Look at these mule deer reference pictures like this compared to the whitetail. The mule deer typically, this is the whitetail over here. The mule deer typically all have a much darker color scheme than the whitetail. You know, some people are going to say they're black, painted black. It's not black, but it's dark. And so when Brett was talking about the flesh color, this is a bottom lip of a mule deer. Look at, now you might see part of your bottom lip depending on how you tucked it, but look at that, it's almost a fleshy purple hue down here that you can see through the sparse hair. And that would be a good place to put a nice flesh color base like he's going to do, as well as under the top lip.
So I'm going to start around the eye, and I'm just going to apply color. I've got some epoxy work here from last week that you saw that gives us some transition from dark to light. So I'm going to soften that up and give it one nice soft working surface. This will also reveal any little spots or fixes that we might need to do. Oh, I might see a little something I want to put some epoxy over it.
So if you were doing that with life tone, what color would you be using right now?
With a life tone product, I think this would be a natural flesh color. And with our Createx color, I think I am that the Lifeline Natural is the color that I'm using here. Yep, the 5026 is the natural, and it's very similar to our...
They have a lot of flushes.
They do. They have a whole bunch. That's why I look to make sure. Some really nice fleshy tones. Got just a little bit of something right there. I might want to get a little epoxy after. I'm also going to spray now. The Sagebrush Mule Deer has the precision nose on it, and we have a really nice transparent inner nostril. But I do have just a little bit of a fixer up inside. I'm going to blend that in. I will come back and pick this dark. And then, as Tom mentioned, I'm going to come around here and paint a little bit of the edge of the lip line and blend that. The bottom lip, or bottom of the nose. I'm going to softly spray over the surface of the nose to get it down into the depressions. No, it's not Rudolph. I'm not going to paint it bright flesh. But we will come back over that with some gray in a few minutes. I'm also going to go inside the ears. Which is important too.
Now, Brett, I saw you wiping down the deer at the very beginning on a rag. Were you using?
Yep. So there was lacquer thinner on the rag before a solvent, and that's important because we want to get all of the solvents out of the hair. So I'm sorry, all of the oils out of the hair with the solvent, which we'll do ahead of time. So that's what that was. I'm just lightly dusting the interior here with sorry, come right through here.
So that works with pan pastels to wipe down, like if you're doing the nose with pan pastels, you wipe it down with lacquer thinner first. And then apply your pan pastels.
Yep, and it's great with any color. Anytime we add any color, it will allow the pigments to release, whether they're an airbrush paint or a pastel paint. In the interest of time, I'm just going to do the one eye because the latex hasn't set up on this. I do have a spot over here that I'd like to fix. So I'm going to do just a little bit of fix it on that. Real quick, this is just Fix It Sculpt. One little spot that we didn't see before, and you'll have that. That's what this flash is intended to do, is to show you all of your flaws, which is no fun. That's why we asked the camera to back up a little bit. We've got some little fixes here. But a simple fix, and I'm going to have that taken care of. In the meantime, do you want to show them anything with the antlers?
I can do that. I was just going to comment on those ears. Those ears are spectacular in shape.
And they are. They're really nice, and that's
is that what's in them? These are them?
They should be.
These are the 200 MDs. They're fabulous. I've never seen an ear that nice. I mean, really.
You guys don't use anything else.
Look at the sharp edges.
That's
A good job.
Sherry.
A good job besides.
That's a good cutting job.
Sherry Robinson?
Yep.
Sherry Robinson is our in-house ear fabrication department.
Give out names, we don't want to lose her.
But look at that. Is that not nice? Is that not sharp and crisp?
By Brian Olson?
These are by Brian Olson. Brian is responsible for the nose. Brian's responsible for the ears. Brian's responsible for the, along with some other people, with the form. And nobody knows mule deer as intimately as Brian.
Now you're using Fix It Sculpt on that fix. Could you use epoxy as well?
Fix It is, I like Fix It Sculpt because it's not shiny. It dries to a little bit more of a matte, and it's a little more of a neutral white color. So that's why I've chosen to use it. You can use Epoxy Sculpt, Magic Sculpt, epoxy clay, any of the above. I really like the results that we get in our mammal finishing with Fix It Sculpt. It just seems to be very, very...
Epoxy clay is a really nice product to use on African animals. It's, it kind of gives a nice skin skin texture.
We had a customer call in and talk to Cindy last week, and he says he absolutely loves our videos. He self-taught himself by the videos and says we are the best and spot on, and he's asking for a shout out. So, James Barton, thank you for tuning in from North Carolina. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your feedback.
Thanks for watching.
So I'm just now, the nice thing about epoxies is they will set up even if they're not an air dry, so you can paint right over top. I'm gonna paint over that.
And somebody had commented on sizing their animals, did they not?
Oh, that's right.
At one time, they liked to downsize because their capes didn't fit. I don't remember how it was phrased. When we get an animal in, typically when we mount something, we have a pretty good idea that it's going to fit. We never downsize compared to what we think if this is going to fit, we're going to go 2 inches smaller to be safe. We don't do that. But when an animal comes in, if we have enough of the neck, we will always measure over the atlas. Typically, any of your supply companies are going to give you the first measurement, which is right behind the ears, neck measurement. Second measurement, which is over the atlas. Some will give you a courtesy measurement mid-neck, I guess I'd never go by that. It's a pretty iffy one and guessy one. But the first two are important, and mainly the one over the atlas. If your deer measures probably 2 inches down from the ears, if it measures 20 inches, that's what we're going to use for our D measurement, or C measurement.
Yeah.
And it'll say over the atlas. So this deer would be like a 7.5, I'm going to guess 19 by 21. And that 21 is important. Over the atlas is the one that you don't want to fight. If it fits over the atlas, it's going to fit all the way down. But we never downsize our capes. And make sure you stretch your capes out once they come from the tannery. Even if they're wet tanned, we will always soak them. We'll put them in a sink with a handful of salt, sink of water, and a little bit of bactericide, and we'll soak them for 15-20 minutes. Take them out of there, drain them, and then stretch them by hand. And that measurement should jive with what you think the animal was when it came in. And you shouldn't have to go down from that measurement. If you can measure just the skin, you can measure the carcass if you have it. Most of the time you don't.
Yeah, definitely. So you can see I have oversprayed paint into all of the hair. Through the ear. I also have overspray around the front of the eye, which I'm going to be careful with because I have some epoxy there. So I want to be careful with that.
That's an interesting attribute of Createx, is they have something they call dry erase.
Yes.
And dry erase means if you spray this on, how much time do you have to wipe it on?
I think it's 24 to 48 hours.
And you can still wipe it off. If you had to get this off, if you got big overspray somewhere, you can wipe it off with your hands with a sponge. It will come off. But it hardens in as it goes on. After 24 hours, you're not going to get it off. It's going to be hard. But it works exceptional for mammal work because you can rub it out of the hair. And it's not wet. It's not like you're rubbing it off wet. It's just, it hasn't reached its, like latex paint. We painted our house and the painter said that paint doesn't cure for 28 days. And I went, 28 days? Well, this is a little bit similar. It doesn't really fully come to full cure for 24 hours. So you do have a little bit of time to wipe it off.
I'm wiping it out of the hair, but I also have some fresh epoxy here in the front corner, so I'm being really careful with that area. But wiping it out of the hair all the way around. And I will also wipe it off the surface of the nose. All those little rosettes and little hairs in the end of the nose we're going to get the paint out of. It's a very important step that we get the paint out of the hair. And the next step of color in this, I think we're going to go with we're going to warm up some of that and start to build toward some of these little richer browns that we see in our reference material in the front corner. Still a very dark eye, but I think we want to have some life and just some warmth underneath the paint. So I'm quickly gonna get rid of my previous color.
And while you're getting ready there, we'll visit a little bit about nictitating membranes. Now, you use commercial purchased nictitating membranes, but people can make them too, right?
Absolutely. And in fact,
out of epoxy sculpt or fixer sculpt.
yeah, I think some of the big boys make them themselves out of different things.
And we've even used real nictitating membranes. We've taken them off the animal, positioned them on glass eyes. I've done that in a couple competitions, and it worked pretty good. Some people use Weight Watchers, the little black Weight Watchers trays, and one of the guys cuts little membranes out of there, and they work.
The next color I have is going to be a burnt umber. So this is just going to be a nice rich, kind of a red, a reddish brown, reddy brown orange. A couple drops in there, a little bit thinner. And we're going to use this really sparingly, really sparingly. Basically, all we're going to do is just warm up the interior here. One nice little tip if you're doing any finish work or fish painting for cards, these are just our old used record keeping tags, and they work really well just as a little frisket or a mask. Stick it in behind a fin, or in this case, I'm just going to use it as I paint.
I used to use old photographs, and I was not a very good photographer, so I only had a lot of old photographs.
So I'm just going to warm up the front a little bit in the back. No more than that. I'm going to come right down these little leaders of hair to get some tone in the interior of the ear.
Clint Ricky says, nice job. When you come in to do one, Clint?
I know, he should be doing this.
Remember to like and share this video. We'll be giving away something at the end for those who have shared it, and next week we'll pick this week's winner. This week you're giving away Mule Deer ear liners by Brian Olson is a giveaway. So remember to share this video and also text in any questions or comment. I sound like you when you said that. Comment in any questions that you guys have and they'll answer them for you as we go.
You know, another fun product from Brian is his elk ear. He has an elk ear that's every bit as nice as his mule deer too. This is just a little cleanup brush, and I don't know that we could do finish work without this.
No, we're using a lot
of these little guys. To get in here detail, we can really scrub and clean.
Now just remember, you're not trying to paint the hair, you're trying to paint the skin that is showing beneath the hair.
Go through here, go down here. In the ear. This isn't long enough for finish work.
I know.
We'll go fast through it. Now we're going to move to a dark. Maybe should have. The next color we're going to go to is our dark brown, and I'm confirming that I picked up the right one. Yep. We've got an espresso color.
So all the colors that you're using right now are the ones that you two created for the Createx Game Head finishing kit?
That you just showed them, yeah. Yeah. And they're all right here. We've put them all together right there so they can see them.
the idea of the color scheme they picked.
What we tried to do is get you as close to the common colors that we've used for years and years through Lifetone. But there are some colors you're going to have to mix. We don't have perfect color for color matches, so we've given you a couple colors that you can use as a base to create your mixed color palettes, and that's all personal preference. So we'll get you close with 7 colors, and then you can build off of that.
Connie's asking about the eyes. So we talked about it earlier. That is actually the Matuska eye frisket that we use here, and they put it on very thick, and it dries and peels off like a piece of rubber. But it protects your eye from the paint and scratches and all that.
Just don't do it around Mandy because she'll come pick it up.
I will.
And along, you did that not very long ago.
I do like it.
But we weren't done. Another thing about the eye frisket is a lot of times we'll spray maybe a finish oil or something on our hair, or some kind of a beauty product, or we're going to gloss the nose, or we're going to satin the eyes, maybe oil the horns or something like that. You can do all of that, and you don't have to cover up your eyes. You don't have to worry about getting any residue on the eye. Don't peel the eye off until you think, the eye frisket off, until you think it's perfect. I can't do any better. What else could I do? Now peel the.
It comes off very clean. When I like cleaning those buckets too from the leftover, but it's taking all my might not to that one.
Okay. So I've taken our dark espresso color. I added 1 drop of black, of just regular jet black, because I see these eyes as fairly dark, and you guys probably don't want to sit here and see us put 5 more layers of color on, so I'm going to try and get it all in basically this last color. And this is just a dark. I'm going to come around the lower lid, leaving just a little hint of flesh. I'm going to come over the top, darken that. Darken the lids themselves.
How's the Createx spraying?
Fantastic. I can't tell you how nicely and soft that sprays. It goes on so nice. I could talk about that stuff all day long because we've had such success with it. For a while there, it kind of felt like it was too good to be true, but confident enough to paint in front of how many hundred years.
I mean, by the time
116.
we kind of have to believe in it if we're going to try to sell it to you. And it's pretty hard to tell you something's really, really good when we don't use it ourselves. And we literally have switched over completely to the Createx colors. Not to say there might be something new a couple years from now, but we're pretty impressed compared to all the coloration systems that we've used in the past.
So I am just darkening the lower lid. I did spray the nictitating membrane. So I'm here now with my eye color. I'm also going to come over the nose, and I'm going to give just a little bit of this dark brown onto the nose. And it's worth noting, this is worth just a quick. We've got such nice transparent inner nostril detail with the new inner nose. I'm just going to take, because I like that nice fleshy interior, I'm going to take a little bit of packing material that we have taken out.
A little?
Previously.
That's a Walmart sack.
We got lots of detail in there. But I'm going to tuck it to a nice edge, and doesn't show really well there, but there is just a little bit of an edge where we transition from the fleshy interior of the nose to the dark exterior. And if I tuck this in there, I'm protecting all of the inside of the nose. So I can leave a nice sharp little edge. Like so. And then I can come over this with dark, and I'll still protect my transparent nostril interior. So I'm going to come down here, darken that edge real nice, And then I'm going to angle spray the surface of the nose. And if you guys are familiar with angle spraying, that's one of the advantages of rebuilding the texture, is now if I spray across here, I'm just going to hit the very surface of those little mounds that we had built up prior. They're going to start to show. So we can come in here, we can come from a steep angle up above.
Like a snowdrift.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just going to carry it down. I believe this to be a little bit lighter, so I'm not going to carry it down quite as far.
I have a few questions here.
Uh-oh.
We're backing up. Okay, Chicken Jim says he just got my system going. Have you said when Brian Olson's noses are coming out? So Brian Olson's mule deer noses are out and in production fully. So those
Small
are
and a medium, yes.
Yep, and those are available. The whitetail nose
Yes.
is, are we ready for this?
Sure.
Is now available. However, because it's just starting to get in production and there's a huge want for it, we are limiting it 2 per customer for right now till we get our production going and fully. But right now you can call the ladies and you can get 2 per customer for
Because
right
we've
now.
had people order 50 noses at a time.
50. So we are not ready for that yet. However, we are ready for people to start trying them out. So they're not online yet, but you can call in 2 per customer and try them out. So the whitetail is now currently available. Okay, next question. Let's see. Jig and Jim says Payne's Gray. Is that going to work with yellow to create a green color for fish?
Yes, that would be a great, that would make a really nice, pretty, kind of a blue-green combination. Payne's Gray is one of our favorites, and that's a color that is available in the Createx line. It doesn't have quite the blue that some of the previous paint lines have had, but it does have a soft blue tone to it. I just had a little bit of light color showing under the antler, so I just hit that brown. It's nice if you can cover all of your bases with the one color while it's in your brush. And I've got dark brown around the edge here. You can see my ear is taking on a really dark cast.
Brett, can you turn the whole mounting stand toward the camera so they can see? There you go.
And it's starting to take on a pretty dark cast. Although I do have a dark cast in my reference, that's going to lighten up considerably when I take the paint out of the hair, which I'm going to do right now.
Connie wants to know, when are you going to have more bird and fish videos? So we are on the mule deer one because we're trying to get it start to finish. The fish, we can definitely do one of those. Birds, Corey, I was talking to him this morning about coming and doing some lives on birds and pushing his product, so he said he'd be willing to do that.
He's the only one that could do a bird fast enough.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And he could.
And he could.
And Jig and Jim says he would like to bring airbrushes and his needle sharpener down and go through things with you for painting.
Oh, do it.
Come visit.
Yeah,
Do it.
absolutely.
We want to come to Florida though too. I think that's where he's from. Rob said, just curious why you spend so much time on the mammal videos coverage but less on birds. And same thing, Rob. We'll talk to Corey and fish. I'm sure they'll do next.
I can speak up for the fish. I think we did a largemouth bass last year, and what did we do? 9, 8
Oh, we have
sections?
so many fish.
We did a long one, and so we felt like we kind of overkilled the fish. So we haven't been back to it in a while. We could come back to fish.
We can do the one in the closet.
But there again, with the fish videos and all the past ones that we've done, go to our YouTube channel
Yeah.
and check out there because you will see all of the fish ones that they've done in the past. We've had a lot, so go check those out and subscribe.
Right. Come over this. I did bump my epoxy just a little bit. Come back and darken that.
Bubba and Dustin say hi, Tom and Brett. Hey, Bubba.
surface one more time. And I've got a soft brown down to the nose. See that? And now we'll go dark. We'll go with a dark gray. Rather than black, I think lots of people try to avoid black.
We got some beautiful grays.
We do. We have enough gray for about every application you can
Dark gray
imagine.
with one drop of that marshmallow.
Yeah, that will certainly warm it up. And, in fact, I'll do that. This is gray number 2. I believe that's the gray that is in your kit. Gray number 3. Oh, you're gonna make me mix it in a cup?
Oh, no.
I'm gonna. I will, because I want to see what I got. I have been mixing in the bowl, which we were instructed not to mix cocktails.
We got strict instructions.
We did. We got the best paint instruction that we've probably ever had. I'm looking for bright red. Right here.
Oh geez. Derek says he'd like to see a fox catching something also. If you want to do a video on that.
Mine one?
Yeah.
Derek, ooh, that's hard. All right, that was
Fox are a hard thing to come by around here.
Got a little color here. Get my little sticker.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're mixing stuff?
Yeah. That didn't turn out what I wanted. That's a little greener than I was hoping for. I might go backwards and go to.
As we were getting these Createx colors, Jig and Jim, what was that color that we came across? Moss green? Was it moss green or what's the green? That real nice.
Emerald? Was it emerald?
No, it was a dark one.
Ochre? Oh.
It's a dark green. It's really a deep green that would be just perfect for a lot of the backs of a lot of fish.
And there's some really vibrant colors in the palette.
And unfortunately, they're not called sunfish breast, female sunfish breast orange, or male and things like that. We haven't renamed them yet, but we may be working on that.
Could be coming. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to this dark gray.
Moss green.
I'm gonna lightly dust over the top of my brown. Begin an angle spraying, leaving some of the paint, leaving some of the depressions, not painting straight on. So this is allowing the paint to hit the surface and maybe leave just a little bit of a low for some contrast. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna address the lower lip.
Cordell's asking about the paint. Cordell, they are Createx, and they have different, there's a bloodline, there's a lifeline, the normal colors, but these are water-based paint, and they're new to us here, but the guys have been using them quite a bit and really like them. So they're now available online. And then
We'll be coming up with some samples at the shows when we go to the shows. We'll be
The shows, that's coming soon
handing
too.
some of these out because I really want people to try them because I'm so excited about them.
Travis Miller says, hello, sorry tuning in late. Busy day in the shop. Everyone get those masterpieces going for the Ohio show. We are so proud to have the prestigious Matuska award available again this year.
Thanks.
So thank you, Travis.
Our
We
pleasure,
are
Travis.
excited to get that going. There's the Matuska Competitors Award, the Professional Masters, I think is at, I didn't bring my sheet, but it's at a lot of the state associations. So get your pieces ready and go to that.
Any of you guys that can put in 4 competition pieces, first of all, that's a feat in itself. But they have to score 350 points or better. That's some high quality work.
Yeah, that's for tremendous investments in time and energy. And I think we appreciate it as much as anyone because we've struggled to get one done.
I
think
do.
we're painting on the one.
I do one every 5-6 years.
No, that's because it takes 5 years to forget how much of a pain it
I
was to
know.
get done. Okay, so one last little thing that's kind of fun to show, and then we'll move along. But we did the mask and the brisket. We got a nice, you can see the white of the nose, the little rosette hairs and so forth. Now I'm just gonna pull this out, and you can see there's a nice fleshy interior to that.
Now, do those Createx paints, do they stay pretty flat or do they have more of a shine?
They do stay fairly flat. The water-based colors are somewhat flat. You can overbuild them, and they will shine, but that's one of the advantages is they do have a fairly flat finish. And I'm gonna just dust, now that I pulled that parting out, I'm just gonna dust and blend my transition line there. Right up front.
You're gonna have to fix that stripe on his nose too.
Which one?
The one that runs off to
This one?
Esterville.
Will any of the mannequins with replacement noses be available for blacktail?
Boy,
I wouldn't doubt the noses would.
Wanted to go. I think we need to go black down on them. That would be a good deal.
I wouldn't doubt.
And Bubba's asking, could you write on paper or show your paint schedule for this mule you're doing? Help to order the right colors. Bubba, they've done one better. They've actually created a 7-piece mammal kit out of these colors that they're using. So call me tomorrow. It's not online yet, but you can call and talk to me and I will get it for you.
And I think that is the down and dirty, quick, fast finishing
Good
version. We can do, you can spend a whole bunch of time on some real up close fine finishing, a little bit more detail in the ears if you wanted to, but for the most part, I think we've covered it. We would now probably do just a little bit of the olive oil treatment on the antler. Do not do this. Oh, we've had a call. Do not put this on your sheep horns. Anybody that is watching,
No oil.
do not oil your sheep horns. They will turn dark. And we do not have a good answer to get them back to
any
life.
horn. Antelope, sheep, goats will turn black with oil on them.
Yeah. But oils do work nice for
On
antlered
antlers.
animals. And it gives a nice soft luster. It's not overpowering and will tone down.
You're gonna put it on, you're gonna go, oh no, they're too shiny.
It's too
but
shiny, yeah.
by an hour from now, they're gonna be beautiful.
Does the Createx come in lacquer base or just?
Just water. Just water. Cleans up with water, cleans up with Windex, cleans up with any of the solvents, the reducers that come with it. It is the nicest, cleanest product we've ever used.
Before we quit, you want to pull the latex off of this eye?
I surely
will.
All right. Get your nail in there. Beautiful.
Look at that.
It's so rewarding.
Sparkly and clean.
Isn't that pretty?
I didn't even do the work, but that was rewarding.
So that's the advantage of doing the latex early, and now you can see the finish work around the eye. There's a little spot right here. Clean up, but for the most part, we don't have to touch the eye again. Nice feature of the eye frisket. Groom him, make him pretty. Oh, hanger. We put a hanger on the back of this one.
There's lots of different hangers to choose from. We have level rights, we have pro mags. Some of you might like a D-ring hanger. And we used to do a whole lot of things to make this neat in the back and have it conform to the wall. And years ago, we started using the Gary Bowen hanger. And the Gary Bowen hanger actually places this probably a good inch away from the wall. And to keep this away from the wall, it's got 2 little rubber bumpers. And we used to do a lot of different things to make this hair look nice. We even used to shave it.
Oh my gosh, you know how many deer have shaved?
Remember, we used to shave a lot of
We
deer,
used to shave a lot
and
of
it would
deer.
make the back look real nice. And by putting this hanger on the wall, or this hanger on the back, it allows your hair to lay in there real nice and natural, the way it would on the real deer. And it's super heavy duty, and it's going to hold any deer size animal.
And no unruly hair against the wall.
Thank you.
None of that unruly crazy hair.
Yep. And then, by placing these rubber bumpers down on the armpits, this deer will hang on the wall. Like, for instance, I don't know if you can see, but he would hang like that with the wall, with the hair not crunched between.
Flaring out. And that's a Gary Bowen hanger system.
Gary Bowen hanger, we love them.
And that adds, one of the advantages over shaving is that it also gives the appearance of a little bit longer shoulder.
For $9.50.
It's a nice product. We used them for a long time and they are very strong.
We're almost ready to call a customer.
Almost.
One more item. And another nostril.
And you just countersink that screw in that rubber bumper. Now, because of the rubber bumpers, they don't swing on the wall. Line your hanger centered on the weight of the animal. You won't have, otherwise what you're going to have is something like this. We used to have to tell people how to groom the hair around their deer, and it looks like they were blasted through the wall.
Yeah.
With a hanger like that, they hang so pretty.
And we actually sell bumpers similar to that, large ones.
Sure, you can do your own.
Separately, so we sell them in a pair as well.
You could take any of these hangers and put them on a little block spacer, like a little piece of plywood.
Yep.
And make your own.
Those are the helping hand bumpers.
Bumpers, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's another good hanger, is the helping hand hangers.
We have a winner for last week, so we'll announce that quick for sharing. So make sure you share the video for your chance to win next week. And this week's giveaway are the Brian Olsen Mule Deer ear liners. And the winner is Lawrence Charman. So Lawrence Charman, congratulations.
If you have a mule deer to do, you are gonna love these.
You know what we should give away next week? So make sure you share this video. And next week, how about we give away a whitetail nose?
Like this?
Yeah, like that.
Oh, here,
That
you got a
is,
close one. Do the
and
close
again, available 2 per person
one. Here, you do the close
for
one.
right now.
Limited quantity.
Limited quantity.
We're close. We've got a couple molds built now, production molds, and we are pumping them out.
Nice.
Jacob
detail
is in
on
the
bottom.
corner pouring noses like crazy.
And the way these are made, these aren't just thrown together, they're not just copies of something. These were actually, you took a whitetail.
Yeah.
I mean, it was frozen, it was molded, which is not an easy feat. It was modeled once it was molded. It was touched and retouched and retouched because of, to make it perfection. Symmetry in animals is non-existent, kinda. And I don't even want to think of how many hours went into this whitetail nose, but it is a work of art. It truly is a work of art by Brett Winfield. And I think there's a nice larger one coming out too.
We are not terribly far away from a larger one, and you know, worth noting too, Brian's mule deer nose went through the exact same process. He had that mule deer nose for years, and I'm sure he sat and sculpted on that forever to get that nice shape and size. And I know my kitchen table has had at least one, if not 12 deer noses on it for the last 4 months, 5 months. It seems to be a never-ending process, but we're getting there. We got the medium. We're close behind with the large, and we'll keep going with them. But we're pretty excited.
And they're easy to cut. It'll take an hour off of your deer work. Easy hour. It's an hour for me to do that.
Yeah.
And then I could never achieve that quality.
And they work well with the mannequins that we have. So we're excited. Call us. Let us know if you have any questions. Limited quantity.
Limited quantity right now. They'll be available for more purchase, but we're just getting into it and everybody wants them, so we're slowly letting everybody try them. I think a lot of people want to do it for competition is the call. We are running a spend $150, get some chocolates for you or your sweetheart. Maybe one candy bar isn't enough, so you need a whole thing of it, but $150 and you'll get a nice box of chocolates in your order. So go ahead and do that. Again, the whitetail nose is not online and the mammal Createx kit is not online quite yet, but the ladies know about it. So if you call in and ask for them, they know about it and you can purchase those. The whitetail nose is $16.95. If you have questions, let us know. What are you guys doing next week?
Oh my gosh, recovering.
Right.
Sounds like we need to do a bird and a fish, and what else? Wow.
And show season is upon everybody, so make sure to check your state association to see if they have the competitors award, if you're ready to compete, and bring your 4 mounts. There's a lot of people going for that beautiful eagle, so check that out. We are going to Wisconsin.
Ooh,
we're going to Pennsylvania. We're going to Minnesota, South Dakota, Iowa, Texas, the UTA in Kansas, the Nationals in South Dakota. So look for us there and give us a call if you have any questions. So thanks for tuning in, 1-800-488-3256, or visit us online.
Thank you.
See you next week.